Today at Aquarium Arts, we're getting into all the details on this Red Sea Reefer 250 that is in our store. This is the Reefer 250. It's a 65-gallon total volume aquarium. That's 54 gallons in the display. This tank has been up and running since March 2021, so just over 3 years. In terms of equipment, this is basically a Reefer 250 Max. However, it was set up before that was even a thing. For lights, we've got Reef LED 90s. On our return pump, we've got a Reef Run 5500. We've got a Reef Run 300 DC skimmer. We've got a Reef Mat 500 and a Reef Dose 4 on this aquarium. For flow on this tank, we are running the Reef Wave 25. That's a gyre style pump. And then in the bottom corners, we've got some Tunzi 6040 Nano Stream. So this is a classic mixed reef aquarium. I would say it's pretty much SPS dominated at this point, so it is a much higher flow aquarium. So on this tank, most of our SPS high flow coral are towards the upper level because they demand more light. In this tank though, we do have some lower flow zones for our flowy stuff. So we've got our gyre pump and it's pushing water like this, circular motion here. And then the way the rock work is designed, we've got a Tunzi 6040 up here that's giving us a circular current that kind of arcs like this. And then on this side, the 6040 is pushing out detritus from the back side. And then we've also got the return line out the top. So there's pretty much no still water in this aquarium. So the lighting on this aquarium is pretty straightforward. It pretty much ramps up to 90 on blues and 10 on white, and it stays there for 8 hours in the day, and then it comes back down. It's a total of a 10-hour schedule. For fish on this tank, there's nothing really crazy in here, just some common fish you can find in the store just about all the time. We've got an awesome pair of clownfish right here. I've had them for a very long time. 4 pajama cardinals in this tank, 2 lyre-tail anthias, they're Sri Lankan blue eyes. So for the corals in this tank, I'm just gonna go from left to right. I can't remember all the names of anything, but I'm going to try. Right up top, we've got an awesome branching lobo. It's one of the orange and purple colorations. Right now, it's probably in a little too high light. We were just experimenting with it. We've got some really cool Montipora up top here. What I like about that coral is that it's all growing into each other, so we got the contrast of the orange-red on the green. We've got a Bali green slimer we actually put at the bottom of the tank. We're hoping that we can get it to grow and fill out the whole front portion here. We've got a pink bird's nest on the bottom there. We've got a Fabia of the Gods that I picked up from BSA Corals. He's one of my friends here locally. What's up, Ben, if you're watching? A coral I've been growing for a while. It's a Bernard Pora or a Microgonium Pora. This one's actually I just call it the Crimson Skull one, or Red Skull, whatever I call it. I've been growing it for a while. I've fragged it probably 30 times at this point. Right here, these ones, they're not really permanent residents here. We've got some hammer corals, some maricultured colonies we just threw in here after dipping and quarantining, obviously. So just some splatter hammer, and then we're hoping it kind of colors up into like a hologram hammer right there. In the back, we've got this really cool chalice coral, and actually just as we started filming, I kind of freaked out because I forgot it was even there. And it's actually got some of the craziest colors I've seen on a chalice. We might need to move it up higher in the tank, see if we can get it to really shine now. Front and center in our tank is a very, very well-known chalice coral. In some places, you'll see it color up as like a pumpkin patch chalice. For us, it usually keeps a purple base with orange eyes. And then when it's doing in higher light, it'll turn almost like turquoise green with orange spots on it. Right below the centerpiece chalice, we've got a classic Jedi Mind Trick Montipora. If you're just getting into SPS corals, that's a good one to have, and we usually almost always have frags of that available here. On the bottom, we've got some chubby plate corals. I forgot the scientific name for them. I think they call those ones Cycloceras. Then as we move over to the right side, at the top of the tank, we've got some really, really happy purple millipora that are actually right at the top of the water level. Like I actually need to frag those like now. And then for Montipora right here, we've got this kind of fake purple rim Montipora. We imported that colony in a while ago, but it's not like the OG purple rim Montipora for all you coral nerds out there. Then we're getting into back here for acros in the back. We have what I was told was a Speciosa acropora up here. We have some tenuous acropora there. Another really nice millipora at the top, kind of like a rainbow millie. Not really a named one, another one we imported. Most of the corals in here we imported and put in here, so they're not really lineaged or anything like that. We've got an awesome Montipora digitata. We've got ORA purple stylo, this is a wild rainbow Goniopora we brought in about a year ago. We've got this kind of like a maricultured Tyree, that green Tyree stylophora that's out there. You coral nerds, you know what I'm talking about. Down here, some more stuff I got from Ben. I trade with him every once in a while. So we got this red Goni with the yellow tips, and then this really nice, really bright green Goniopora with a pink center. And when it's really happy, unfortunately, it's not the happiest right now. I think it's getting cramped for space. The edge of the tips are actually blue, which is really unique for Goniopora. And then on the back side, we've just got a really standard, just a common little green lobata Goniopora, the really long tentacles. And actually a funny story about that, we brought in a big order of Goniopora, and then I picked up the rack, and that specific species will just drop little pea-sized ones off of it. And I just picked it up, dipped it, threw it in the tank, and it's grown out pretty well. So for cleanup crew on this tank, there's not a whole lot in here, but we do probably have 5 to 10 red-banded Trochus snails in here, and we have a bunch of hermit crabs in here, blue leg hermits. We carbon dose this tank with Red Sea Nopox, and so we don't really have as many algae issues as you normally would have in a reef tank like this. So this tank hasn't been all sunshine and daisies. We have had issues with it. Obviously, if you've been a customer shopping here for 3 years, you've seen this tank develop as we've had it set up. At one point, we had a crazy hair algae problem. That kind of went away once, you know, the Reef Mat came out and the DC skimmer came out, and then we really started to understand how to use Nopox and get good results from it. The hair algae went away. We still have bubble algae in this tank. I'm kind of the opinion now that bubble algae is kind of unavoidable. It gets in there whether you want it to or not. Fortunately, we've never had any flatworms or Aptasia in there. Let's knock on wood there. Don't want to have any of that in here. But for the most part, we've been able to keep it pretty much pest-free. There's not really been any problems. So this tank being a small tank, you'd probably be shocked if you ever saw Kyle put food in here. He goes absolutely nuts. For the coral food blend in here, we actually mix up quite a bit of Red Sea AB+, and then we're also putting in Polyp Lab Reeferoids at the same time. We believe that the fish need a good blend, the corals need a good blend of particulate food as well as amino acids to cover all the bases of their health. The fish just get fed all kinds of stuff all the time. We're throwing mysis shrimp, Dainichi pellets in there. We're experimenting with probiotic pellets at the moment, and we're actually starting to get a lot of good results with the probiotic pellets. So when we set this tank up, the rock base we used was pretty much just standard Marco rock. We got in here and we put some shelf rock and I actually built the structure out of the tank on a weekend. And then it was all set up and I lowered it in. And it's actually not the original structure as you see it. If you go back far enough on our Instagram page, or maybe the Reef Hotspot Instagram page, you'll see that it was actually originally just this rock structure and this rock structure. And it was really bare. And that's probably one of the mistakes we made on this tank. And I find a lot of people make these days is they skimp on rock for the aquarium. And it does 2 bad things for you when you don't put enough rock in the tank. The first is that you don't have enough space to really put corals into the tank. So you get to a point where, especially on a tank that's grown out like this, there's not really anything for anywhere to go. The second, and actually probably the bigger problem, is the biological issues it causes. If you don't have enough rock in the tank, then you're not going to have the proper microfauna to sustain all the livestock. We're wanting to get into the aquarium hobby. We are a Red Sea certified dealer. We have access to their entire catalog. You're more than welcome to come in, ask us questions about this tank, and have us help you get started. So if you like this long form content, make sure to like and subscribe our page and leave a comment for us. Let us know what you want to see.